Ouch. Fuck. Yeah, it scared me.
What is that? Jade. I could have sworn when you said something about Casey Musgroves, I said something about Casey JoJo, but I didn't hear it. Sitting there eating your little snack pack. Crackers and cheese. Hey, I got milk for the Oreos for you.
Yeah. I just pooped out my DMs.
No, I'm surprised I've been still shitting as much, not drinking milk like that. I haven't really drank milk in a while.
Yeah, that was great.
It sucks.
It does it so good. Oh, I told you in 2018 that milk was what was wrong with you. Chocolate milk, to be exact.
Chocolate milk, it's muscle milk.
Chocolate milk is bad for you. At least your guts. Bad for your guts. Chapter 9, Tabitha's Diary. Entry, Timmy and the Witch Hunt. Timmy introduces... Timmy introduction, colon. This is a colon, not a semicolon. This is manufacturer type. As you can see, Tabitha is not a fan of the billionaire Cranes or any of the townspeople of Harmony. Her vow to forever bring heartache into their lives was made hundreds of years ago. To show you why she made that vow, Timmy interrupts this story to share these entries he found in Tabby's diary of 1693. Not a good year for the old girl. September 25th, 1693. Dear Diary, here I sit in the Harmony Town jail, watching the menfolk pile up kindling in the middle of the town green. Yes, William Ephraim Crane, the town magistrate, has given them the recipe for my redemption. 2 days hence, place Tabby on an upright spit. Cook flesh until medium rare. No basting necessary. Death by fire. Canst thou believe it, diary? How's that for sentencing guidelines? Fire is such a complete horror to rejuvenate from. I haven't done it since the Middle Ages. Meet the new world, same as the old world. Who knew? I mean, the Mayflower was no party, but at least they had a goal: pioneer a new land, start fresh with religious freedom, which I took to include witchcraft. Thank you very much. I was ready for a change after hundreds of years of the same old king and country dung. War upon war. First, this one wants the throne, then that one beheads this one because the other one wants it. I like that sentence. It's like war upon war. First, this one wants the throne, then that one beheads this one because the other one wants it. I had my fun, of course, casting my spells for side, then the other, but ultimately it felt the same. Century after century, mortals really need to get some new ideas. Take this witch hunt lunacy. The whole thing actually started over yonder in Salem Village. That's where Days of Our Lives is. When a few little prepubescent brats accused some innocent people of practicing my craft. If you ask me, it's those little girls who ought to be strung up, just like that Prudence Standish for what she did to me here in Harmony. I mean, what an exaggerator. There she is, barely 16 years old, leaping to her feet at the church meeting to declare she'd seen me in the woods communing with a pack of demons. What pack is what I want to know. It was one little evil spirit. Remember those Standish twins, Grace and Faith, who vexed Tabby earlier in this story? Do you want to know why she hates them with such passion? Well, they happen to be the descendants of Prudence here. And when it comes to taking down evil, let's just say the Standishes have made it a family affair. I suppose this is the downside of my particular career track, especially in an era of Puritan lunacy. I mean, if kissing in public, wearing the wrong kind of boots, or falling asleep in church can lead one in the stocks, what did I think these dogmatic checkposts would do to a woman accused of conversing with agents of the devil? It's hard to read because it's in cursive, like very small. Tabitha's diary. No surprises here. The town of Harmony put me on trial, and of course, there's no such thing as a public defender in this muddy little settlement unless you count my pig farmer neighbor who said, and I quote, I do not disassemble in the giving of testimony that with mine eyes I did never witness on the lands of Miss Tabitha Lenox anything unnatural in particular. So much for competent defense counsel. What vexes me is that in Salem, they're hanging their witches, or rather, they're hanging the poor mortals accused of being witches by the aforementioned little brats. So why don't they just sentence hanging here in Harmony is what I want to know. Hanging is easy to rejuvenate out of. Just a simple spell. And the rope mark's gone. But no, there'll be no hanging for Tabitha Lenox. Hanging's been done. Oh man, there's hella journal entries and they're all in cursive small. Executions around these parts must have that original harmony for that. So the contemptible magistrate William Crane decides to top the Salem show by sentencing me to ban. That's ground, Scrooge, Scourge.
Scourge.
I don't really see it. SCONR SCOURGE. Scourge. And that scrounge like scourge. Is that that's an R. It's SCOURGE. I'll get them, I swear it, diary. And the little Prudent Standish girl, too. I'll get them both if it takes all my unnatural years. SCOURGE. RGE. Scourge.
Here we go.
Scourge.
Know what it means.
Long ass nigga. Ain't shit ass dude. Person. September 26, 1693. Tonight's the night. The big breakout. I meditated for hours for a solution, and voila! I even managed to summon up the night spell from memory. Is right.
That's what it
Scourge means a whip used as an instrument of punishment, or a person or thing that causes great trouble or suffering. The scourge mass of unemployment. Alright, September 26, 1693. Tonight's the night, the big breakout. I meditated for hours for a solution, and voila! I even managed to summon up the right spell from memory. Without my book of black arts and potion bag, it's rather rough going. At sunset, I'll begin to chant these words. Little doll, so sweet and small, eyes will open, knees will crawl, hands will flex, mouth will talk, come alive, stand up and walk. Find the door and come to me. I have your task to set me free. Once the spell is chanted 3 times, if all goes as planned, that little voodoo doll I sewed to vex Timothy Paris will come to life and walk across town to the bars of my cell's window. What shall I call him, I wonder? Well, I suppose since I sewed him to look like Timothy Paris, I ought to call him Timothy. No, that's too formal. Perhaps Timmy. Yes, that's perfect. Timmy. Timmy finds it. I look like me. Timmy finds it fairly shocking that a Timmy existed before me. After all, present day Timmy is a one of a kind sort of guy. It should be nice and dark outside by the time my little Timmy arrives, and I'll immediately send him off to steal the cell door keys from James Bennett, the town jailer. That's Sam Bennett's great. Well, you get the idea. Once Timmy comes back with the keys, I'm out of harmony. Gone. Thank you very much. Wish me luck, diary. September 27th, 1693. Well, diary, we almost made it, but alas, here I am again, sitting in this dreary, decoratively challenged jail cell. My spell worked, so don't blame the magic. Timmy came to life as planned and got me out of the cell. We ran as far as the edge of Harmony Woods, but the pollen count's been higher than usual. And who'd ever guessed that a sod-stuffed rag could have allergies? Anyway, Mary Fitzgerald's twin boys were camped out in the treehouse, keeping watch for demons and spirits when they heard Timmy's non-stop sneezing. Seeing a living doll sneezing in the arms of an accused witch fleeing into the woods in the dead of the night sort of gave them a clue to send up a general alarm. Menfolk with torches, came unnerving, unfucking cursive. Menfolk with torches came running. That's a terrible R, like compared to the other R's. That R is weird. And what can I say? Now I'm back in my cell, but at least Timmy's managed to escape. I've cast another spell instructing Timmy to steal one of William Crane's wigs and come to the site of the burning. With any luck, the town will believe he's a little magistrate from another town, come to speak in my defense. Of course, time is short. The kindling's been prepped as I write this, and the Timmy defense is a pathetic last hope, but I swear to you, diary, I'll make my rejuvenation work. I'll be back. And I have a long memory. When I return to Harmony, hell itself will become my new ally, and I will exact revenge on this town for centuries to come. The Cranes, the Bennets, the Fitzgeralds, and all of their descendants will regret the little parts they played in my Puritan demise. But my sharpest vengeance will be reserved for Prudence Standish, the little brat who first accused me and continued to witness to the town, urging my burning. For her and all the Standishes who come after death by fire will be their fate. Ooh. She burned one of them already. Ooh. No, one of them.
She burned it. She killed one lady bullet by yeah, it was like birdie, but it was really the smoke.
Prudence. She killed Prudence.
The twin,
the twin sister. Yeah. She tried to kill Claire.
She killed her, but she only mainly died because of smoke.
I can't believe she died. That was fucked up.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It will be my new mission in life. And death, as it were, as evil is my witness, I do swear it. Addendum. In continuing to read Tabby's diary, Timmy discovered 1. Puritan Timmy did manage to steal a wig and brilliantly defend his princess, but the simple-minded townsfolk of Harmony were already sold on their bonfire idea, and Tabby went up in smoke. 2. Puritan Timmy suffered a similar fate a few days later when one of the Fitzgerald boys accused him of being the enchanted doll they'd seen sneezing in Tabby's arms. 3. Tabby did indeed rejuvenate from the ashes within weeks. With her powers restored, she returned to the town as Margaret Good, a cousin of the accused who come to assume control of Tabitha Lenox's property. As Margaret, Tabby attempted to kill Prudence Standish by setting fire to the church while she was being wed to a young Fitzgerald man, Prudence. Oh, Fitzgerald man? The groom died, but Prudence escaped, fleeing the town with all the Standishes. Relieved to be rid of them, Tabby finally took back her original. Oh, why am I being British? Tabby finally took back her original name. Oh, but there's one more thing. A very important thing that Tabby eventually learned. After Prudence Standish fled from Harmony, she settled in a New England town far away called Mill Valley. She married another man and had many children. Since then, every succeeding generation of Standish women has become more and more powerful in their psychic ability to combat evil. Tim told you the Standishes were going to be a pain for poor Tabby. Believe Timmy when he tells you that back in 1693, her troubles were just beginning. Damn. Hey, chapter 10 is called Sam and TC. Sam and TC are like best friends, and I guess Sam Bennett and TC blah. Russell. Sam and TC. There's a scenic 2-lane highway near Harmony that travel riders love to cite for its ocean views, historic lighthouses, and quaint local eateries. Coastal Road is your gateway to seaside splendor, gushed the 1976 edition of A Guide for New England Day Trippers. Hugging the Atlantic shoreline, the route winds It fucking winds. The route winds past a number of picturesque harbor towns, including one aptly named Harmony. Without doubt, the road is an oasis of tranquility. The sun is trying to destroy me. Magina. I don't know where's that. But it's, what is it? Final motherfucking fantasy. On the day of the Crane garden party, however, the fucking cannot read. They just can't read. Mattresses be on the floor.
But I figured out where that song was from.
What?
The one I was singing.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle Book.
Oh.
You remember when he saw the girl by the water and she was like singing that?
I forgot about that, but yeah, I remember that.
I had to think about it because that wasn't like a big part of the movie.
I forgot about that. I don't remember that movie. It doesn't stay in my head.
It's the cartoon.
That's what I mean. It's for boys. On the day of the Crane Garden Party, however, that tranquility was up for grabs. The aggressive strains of Strauss's wow, this is the worst. They can't be just French. They have to be German and shit.
Yeah.
This is America. Like, this is so fucking America.
Free.
That's a really beautiful sentence. It's just, I really don't understand it. Near sunset, as the Crane party began to disperse, the Castleton crew pumped up the volume for the night ahead. But not everyone was planning to party till midnight on the dunes. Checking his watch, Sam Bennett casually rose from the sand, pulled his blanket and athletic bag off the ground, and waved goodbye to his friends. More than a few young women actually sighed with disappointment as they watched Sam's hard body and blue eyes depart. The sky was blushing brilliantly with streaks of maroon and pink. It was the perfect romantic evening for cuddling up with a handsome Harmony lifeguard. But the boy of Castleton Girls' dreams was instead heading off into the twilight. Their wide-eyed gazes tracked Sam as he hiked down the curving shoreline and toward the rocky cliffs that everyone under the age of 50 knew as the Lover's Beehive. A dozen secluded coves provided privacy for couples too young and poor to afford a hotel room, or too fond of nature to do it in the cramped backseat of a gremlin. Back at the campfire, the gossiping began the moment Sam left. Over the past year, many of the young women at school had tried to lure Sam into their beds. He was always polite, always a gentleman, but he had always refused. Speculating on Sam's love life had now risen to the level of professional sports betting. No one knew who Sam was seeing, although the rumor definitely got around that he was delivering more pizza to some lucky girl inside the exclusive walls of Rutland College. Sam himself remained as silent as the grave, even as he walked away from his friends on the beach. To his surprise, however, not all of his friends were content to be left behind. Bennett, hold up! Hearing his name above the sound of the surf, Sam wheeled to find a handsome African American man jogging easily toward him. Thornton Chandler Russell was Sam's oldest friend. Their families had been close since before the boys were born. I don't suppose if I ask where you're going, you actually tell me this time? Asked TC. His smile was as dazzling as Sam's, and his dark, muscular body just as well developed from years of dedication to athletics. The difference was that Sam played football for fun, a passing school hobby, but TC played tennis with the passion of making the sport his entire life. Where am I going? I've got a date, replied Sam flatly. Right, no kidding, Bennett. Look, man, you just turned and walked away from about a dozen very nice, not to mention nice looking young ladies. Any one of them would be a great match for you because they'd be happy to spend time openly with your family and friends. So, which is more than I can say for this mystery chick that you've been seeing. So, why don't you just turn around and come back with me? TC, why are you even wasting your breath with the same old argument? Because this hide and seek routine ticks me off. What's the issue with bringing her around, man? Are you ashamed of your buddies? Are we not good enough to meet this girl? You know that's a load of crap. Well, then, why don't you bring her around? She's Sam sighed, dropped his bag softly on the sand, and remained silent for a moment, considering what to say. When I watch this later, if I watch this later, whoa, I'm gonna like, hold on. I just got high for a second. Oh yeah, I'm gonna remember that part right there where I was quiet because I was really trying to think. Well, I was really trying to not cough and die. I'm gonna think that it was frozen. I'll watch it later. She's asked me to keep our relationship a secret. Her family objects to my seeing her, and if I tell anyone, even you, then I'll be breaking my word to her. Okay, don't tell me, but I'll have to guess because I've been hearing plenty of rumors. What sort of rumors? A dangerous look of fierce protectiveness slammed over Sam's features like a curtain of steel. Oh man, take it easy. Nothing nasty about the girl, just that she probably goes to Rutland. Sam looked away, his jaw twitching unhappily. Well, doesn't she? Reluctantly, Sam nodded. Then I've got to say this. You are sailing straight into heartbreak grief. That's my business, TC. I'm your friend, Sam, and I don't want to see you crash and sink. You know what they say. If you don't want to see it, then when it gets to the scary part, hide your eyes. Come off it, man. You're not part of their world. Listen to me because I know. My pop worked around those people all his life at the country club. He knows what they're like. And you don't want to mess with them. It's like jumping into the shark tank. So come on and turn around with me now. Come back to your little pond. There's plenty of fish who'd love to swim with you tonight. Maybe even skinny dip if you flash in that razzle dazzle smile of yours. Thanks for the clue, but I'm not going back to catch the other fish in the sea because I'm not in love with any of them. But I've got a brilliant idea. How about you take your own advice? What's that supposed to be? I mean, why don't you turn your butt around and go realize some willing catches for yourself? Sorry, but you know my rule. Women weaken legs. Man, that's just some bogus philosophy your coach picked up watching Rocky a dozen times. The truth is, you are so focused on turning pro that you're missing out on the best part of being alive. And that would be, Sam shrugged, love? Heaven help me, cried TC to the sky. My jock best friends turned into Dear Abby. Man, you know my sole passion in life is tennis, and it will remain tennis until I play at Ash at Wimbledon. I mean, can't you just see it? Two brothers battling it out for the top tennis title in the world. Arthur Ashe was TC's ultimate hero. He'd become the first African American to win the men's national singles championship in the United States. And just last year, TC had gone totally crazy in front of the TV watching Ashe become the first black man to win at Wimbledon. TC swore then and there that he was going to be the second black man to win in England, and his dearest fantasy was to win it by playing the final match against Ashe himself, proving to the world once and for all that black men could play the elite games just as well as anyone. And it would prove something else. It would prove to TC's father, Reggie Russell, that all of his bowing and scraping had been worth it. Bowing, perhaps. And if he'd never have to do it ever again, and he would never have to do it ever again, that is a solid statement. Since TC's father was 16, he had worked at the Harmony Country Club as a caddy and a maintenance man. TC never understood why his pop stayed in a demanding job like that and an all-white club. A part of TC was actually embarrassed by his dad, so eager to please men who didn't have a fraction of his pop's strength of character. But TC dearly loved his father. And ever since TC had been a little kid, fishing expensive rackets out of the country club trash bins and fucking read, bitch. You can read. You need to fucking read. You know what you did in school when people were doing this? You read. You started reading for them because they were failures. Don't be a fucking failure, Kristen. Also, because no, they were failures, and class only has so much time. Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here. All right, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. A part of TC was actually embarrassed by his dad, so eager to please men who didn't have a fraction of his pop's strength of character. But TC dearly loved his father, and ever since TC had been a little kid, fishing expensive rackets out of the country club trash bins and waking at dawn every summer morning to grab a public court, TC had known his old man had been pinning all his hopes on TC, bringing glory to the Russell name. Just last month, TC's tennis coach at Castleton had told him he was ready for the NCAA fast track this fall. And TC himself, I can't stand sports. Like, when I was in ninth grade, that dude, like, I can't remember his name or whatever. I remember he was like a young dude that was normal. He's the normalest guy I ever met in my life. And everything in our English class revolved around sports. I wrote papers on football and shit. Like we watched Brian's song. That's where I saw Brian's song at. And I was like, what the fuck? You know? That was in ninth grade. I skipped that class a lot too. I'm pretty sure I passed it still though, because he didn't give a fuck. He didn't say much. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like he was just the normalest dude in the world. He likes sports. He likes sports a lot. And I'm like, okay, Brian's song 101. I mean, I passed the class.
That's good enough break.
Yeah, I think I had him after lunch, so yeah, I skipped his class a lot. TC was so looking forward to that tournament. It would be his second chance to beat the shorts off Julian Crane, who now held the regional title. But then Julian had held the junior title too. He'd held it for 5 solid years when TC had shocked the entire town by defeating him. Yeah, Reggie Russell's boy had actually beaten Alistair Crane's son. TC would never forget the look of pride on his father's face and the look of rage on Alistair Crane's. Suddenly, the Crane's genes weren't so hot after all. They were second best after Russell's. He's got a complex. TC's got a whole complex, dog. And in a few weeks, TC would prove it again. You know, TC, dreams of glory are well and good, said Sam, but I don't see why you can't fit a girlfriend into your big pro plans. Maybe you ought to take a closer look at those pretty ladies back there. I'll look. I'll even flirt. But once they agree to hit in the sheets, I always tell them the upfront score. Tennis is everything to me. She's my one and only love. She will always come first. Okay, then I'll make you a deal, proposed Sam. I'll leave you to your love if you leave me to mine. With a sigh of defeat, TC waved Sam off, then turned to jog back to the clam bake crowd. Just be careful, okay? Called TC over his shoulder. Those Rutland girls are rough on guys without trust funds. I'm spelling trouble with a capital T. You're wrong, TC, and someday you'll understand why. Sam shouted over the pounding surf. Someday you'll meet a girl who's worth taking on all the trouble in the world. And that was chapter 9 and 10.